The Ultramarines are probably the most popular models to collect and paint in the Warhammer hobby, but I've never been one to follow the crowd and take an easy paycheck. Until now. Last week, I painted a handful of Ultramarine models as part of my Space Marine 2 Diorama video, but that was more of a painting journey rather than a detailed guide. And in that video, I posed the question if you'd like me to focus in more on a detailed guide on how to paint the Ultramarines. The answer was yes. Of course it was yes. Let's get started. There's no stringing you along in my painting guides. Here's how the Marines will turn out, so that you can decide early on if you like the look and want to replicate it. I'll be using mostly Army Painter Fanatic paints today, and when I use a colour, I pop it up here for you. Building the models, and the main points I have for you here is to construct your models in sub-assembly, and what I mean by that is if there are any areas that are going to be difficult to paint and hard to reach if you fully construct the model, then leave a piece or two separate. Take this Eliminator Marine. His standing pose with the sniper rifle means that I'll struggle to paint his chest and the flip side of the weapon, so this whole section can remain free and I'll glue it back on at the end. I'll paint up 3 different types of Marines today. There's the Eliminator, but we also have this Jump Pack Assault Intercessor and an Infernus Marine, which is obviously just this chap holding a flamethrower. I've primed my models in black, and then using a can of white primer, I have given them a cheeky spray across their forward facing. I've done this because I wanted them to be facing a ball of flame in my diorama, so you can elect to spray them all black or all white if you'd prefer. An airbrush? Before you absolutely roast me, know that you don't need an airbrush here. I'm using one to get my base coat on quicker, but there's no fancy gradient business going on, so you can paint this stage by brush instead. Because I wanted a dark shadow on their backs, I've sprayed a second base layer to the rear with a darker blue mix. Here we go, onto the brushwork now. This dark blue is being used to paint thin shadow recess lines on the Marine's power armour. You can colour match with whatever brand of paints you like. I bounce between using different companies like Citadel, Vallejo, AK Interactive, and right now I'm hooked on the Army Painter War Paint Fanatic range, so that's why you are seeing a handful of them today. There's more work to come on the armour shortly, but I want to get some other base colours down first. The joints in the power armour, I normally prefer to paint in a gunmetal colour with a dark wash, but I always get told off because they aren't meant to be metallic. I'm run down from a cold this week and feeling precious, so I'll conform for now and use a dark grey instead. My Blood Angels Marines have a darker, grimier looking gold going on because that suits their story. But these Ultramarines are the type to remind the teacher about the homework that is due, so of course they'd have bright, shiny gold trim. I'm using a thin brush and taking my time here. If I can avoid a couple of mistakes, that's awesome. But if I do colour outside the lines, hey, it's an easy fix. We can come back in at the end with our dark blue again and tidy up those shadow lines. Now I pick out all my leather pouches and our sniper's cloak. My camouflage cloak is boring and brown, but that's because I wanted to match the environment that he's operating in. He's going to be in defense of an Imperial bastion on the muddy forest world of Kadaku, but yours will be somewhere different. There are plenty of guides online for different camouflage patterns, so you can have yours match your environment. The areas of the gold trim that are hidden away will be a little darker as the light isn't bouncing off them, so I'm going to be bold and try mixing some dark brown into my metallic and then applying this onto those areas. It feels like it shouldn't work, but it is. Here's a fun fact that sometimes you need reminding of. You can paint your models and your Ultramarines however you like. If you think the trim and decorations would look better in silver, or black, or red, then you do that. I won't lose sleep over it. Take bits that you like from this video and another video online and add your own elements in as well to create your favourite recipe. Sometimes the paint companies do all the heavy lifting for us. Leather brown, Mixing this on my wet palette as a 50-50 with the oak brown from before, and this lets me create a highlight layer that I will now match the base color below. Because I've stolen 50% of its genetics. That's science. Slice a little frog DNA in there and baby, you got yourself a theme park going. If you want your gold to be darker and heavier, then select a wash like Strong Tone or Agrax Earthshade. If you want it to look more regal and warmer, try using sepia like I am. I find this gives more life to the gold, where I want to tell everyone that it's been cared for. Highlight time on the armor, and this is where you can reward yourself for finishing all of those base coats by painting this step that will make our model start to look ready to purge heretics on the table. This step can feel daunting, but let me fire some fast tips at you. Use the right sort of brush. It doesn't need to be expensive, but it does need to be thin and sharp. In the video description below, you'll find a link and information for the affordable brushes that I use. Next, see how my model is attached to a handle to make it easier to maneuver? And that's the last bit. I move the model around instead of twisting my arms and hands to try and get to the area that I want to paint. Some Marines are pristine and entering the battlefield off their fancy transport ship, and others have been embroiled in a prolonged combat and have already suffered damage. If you'd like to capture some chipped paint and battle damage, in this step I'm using a small piece of blister pack foam and I'm dabbing like it's 2015. Then the second part is to use our same blue highlight colour and paint the underside of the brown. By painting just the one side, this will give a 3D look to our splotches to create the appearance of chipping. I cover different techniques for glowing weapons in a whole host of my videos, but if you want something really quick and simple, I've taken this bright technical paint and given one healthy wash over the white plasma coils. You can use it for glowing plasma weapons, and it would also be suited for some other items that the Space Marines have, like their handheld electronic displays or the scope and goggles of our sniper friend. I'm glad that I sat down and explained the process for how the Ultramarines were painted. You'll notice a few things that I haven't covered here, like the heat effect on the flamethrower, but the good news is that you don't miss out. I cover that in detail in the diorama video, and this is the thumbnail for it. I'll add this card at the end of the video for you to jump across if you're interested. We will have a look at how the Space Marines have turned out in just a second, but first, have a look at these amazing patrons. They financially support the channel so that I can hide away here in my study and bring you painting guides just like this one. There's also over 150 of us in the channel Discord. Free to join, and it's a place for you to have your hobby questions answered live, including painting tips, but more importantly, it's a relaxed venue for you to unwind, show off your amazing minis, and discuss which Tim Tam flavour is the best. It's double-coated chocolate, in case you were wondering. Where was I? I don't know, but it's free to join and I'll add a link below. You've made it! Let's have a look at the Space Marines of the 13th Legion. 13, unlucky for some, namely the heretics.
It's not like I'm expecting something new. You need examination. I'll be your medication. Whatever, whenever, I'll never tell you no.
That was a cheeky little painting guide as a bonus video for you today. And if there's something in the hobby that you'd like a painting guide for, you best let me know in the comments below and I'll add it to my list. Now, because you've made it to the end of the video, I have a few extra little bonuses for you today. The first is I'll give you an insight into what's to come in the next channel videos. There will be a painting guide or two for some Necromunda games. I want to take a look at painting in a comic book style, and it's probably time that we add to our Blood Angels. And to take us away today, it is a collection of our Discord members' painted Space Marine models for you to check out. Thanks again, team, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Never waste my time, you are I want. just wanna be alone. Breathing in your love or your touch. Oh, it's what I'm living for. Say I'll never waste my time. I'm all you want. Oh, yeah, we live it up. I know for sure that I'll always be yours. We could be spending time chasing nights. Cruise the one until we see the sunrise. Hit my line, we align. Every night with you's the time of my life. Baby, don't feel no pressure. Yeah, you make everything easy, everything except leaving on. I'll never make you my enemy. Can't get enough of your